Howdy. Welcome to the Health Professions Interview Workshop presented by Professionals Graduate School Advising. If you are watching this workshop, that means that you are preparing for your interview, and congratulations on getting to that step of the application process. So let's begin. First of all, first impressions. There are no second chances. So if you are in person, you need to make sure that you are showing up professional, business attire, well groomed. You will never get to have a second first impression. So please, please, please come professional, ready to shine, well groomed, and dressed appropriately. Have a strong handshake. You don't want to be so strong that you break their hand, but you also don't want to be so wimpy that it just throws you off and it feels awkward. So model the handshake of the person who is offering their hand to you. Also, speak respectfully with the staff, the faculty, the students. You just want to be yourself, but you don't want to talk in slang. You want to talk like you're talking to your grandparents or your parents and in a professional setting. And also making eye contact. Unfortunately, with technology and so much screen time today, we've lost the skill of making eye contact. So if that feels awkward to you, then you need to practice that, looking them in the eyes and feeling confident about yourself talking to a person. And most importantly, show enthusiasm. You want to be at this interview. You've worked hard to get to this point in the application process. So show enthusiasm, be yourself, be authentic, and speak with passion. So, what if you're not doing this in person? What if the interview is virtually? It's still, you need to make a good first impression. So, you still need to dress professionally. I even recommend professional dress from head to toe, even though on Zoom you might only see your shoulders and up. Please, please, please dress all the way down to your shoes because you will present yourself in a different manner when you are dressed professionally. Think about your background. Make sure it's a quiet setting. Make sure the background is professional. I've been on the other end of virtual interviews and I've seen people with their beds not made up or their cat walking across the screen. You want to make sure you're in a professional setting. So for virtual, if you're on main campus, I recommend coming up to the Career Center and checking out one of these interview rooms, and then you don't have to worry about good internet, pets, disturbances, things like that. Professional tire, which we've already talked about from head to toe. And make eye contact. Know where your camera is. There's nothing worse than someone who's not looking in the right place. So practice on Zoom. Record yourself on Zoom. See where your eyes are looking. Very, very important, especially on a first impression. And smile. You want to really be yourself because here's my true, honest answer is that you don't want to be accepted at a school that you wouldn't fit in if you were being yourself. So be yourself, and so the results will come out exactly the way you wish. And show enthusiasm. Your voice needs to be not monotone. It needs to show ups and downs and highs and lows. Just be real with them. So professionalism, we talked about dress, we talked about handshake. Make sure that you are getting their business cards from them. Even if virtual, please make sure you get their information so that you can contact them afterwards. Our career closet here at Texas A&M University is a great way to save money. You do not need to spend $600 to $1,000 to get a professional suit. Come to the career closet, look up the hours that it's open, borrow an outfit that fits you, that looks great, and all you do is pay $5 to have it professionally cleaned and return it to the career closets. That's a great resource to use. Professional dress. You want to stay in more just black and different colors, like your tie could be maroon or the color of that school. But you don't want to show up in like bright lime orange or orange or fluorescent and things like that. You want to be really subtle colors. And honestly, just Google professional dress and you'll have great examples. So, how do you prepare for the interview? Number one, you're attending this workshop, so kudos to you. And I'm going to give you great resources at the end to help you prepare more for specific questions and things to think through before you get there. But if you are traveling, this is my best advice for you. If you are on an airplane, you have no idea if the person who's interviewing you is sitting right next to you. So from the time you step out onto the airport, you need to be on your best behavior because people are watching and that might be your interviewer. So think through your travel. If you're virtually, again, we've talked about the setup and the internet and the background. Research what type of interview are you going to have? And we're going to talk about the different types of interview on this workshop, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a panel, whether it's MMI, where you rotate around. So we're going to talk about it. But if you can find out which type of interview you're having before you attend, that would allow you to prepare better. Know their school information. What is their mission? What is their purpose? What is their statement? What are the current events going on? You want to do your homework. You want to know what's going on at their university, and that will stand you out amongst the others. Even if this is not your number one school that you want to go to for professional school, act like it is because not being fake, but know all the information and act like it is because this is your time to shine and to sell yourself. And wouldn't that be the best to have multiple offers and then you get to pick which professional school you will be attending? That would be the best option for you. And review your application. Hopefully, you've saved your application from different schools. Look at the questions they asked you. What did you answer so that you're familiar with what they have known about you so far? And prepare your own questions. They will ask you at the end, do you have questions? And your answer is always yes. So we're going to talk about what those questions could be as well. So again, we're talking about different interview types. So whether they're traditional one-on-one or if it's a panel where there's like 6 to 8 or 3 or 4 different people there, they're probably going to ask you behavioral type questions. It's also known as situational judgment because they want to get to know you better. They're trying to find out more information than that's on your resume. They've read your resume, they've read your application, but they want to know about you and how do you handle things in their hospital setting or in their professional school. And then we're going to talk about the MMI, the multiple mini interview session, and how to prepare. So let's start with the traditional one-on-one. Most likely it's going to be you and either a faculty, staff, or student. Sometimes it's 2 people. It could be a panel. And when I recommend when a panel setting, just make sure you look in the eye to the person who asked you the question and answer them the question. But also don't just go into one person. Look at each and every person in the eye. It can seem awkward at first, but the more eye contact you make, the more you present yourself as real and passionate and excited, the more you're going to connect with them. But it also could be a group and a group of questions, and that's where you wait your turn to answer the question. Yes, it can be intimidating in that you're hearing someone else's answers, but still be true to yourself. Answer the questions the way you would answer the questions. There's nothing worse than hearing the same answer from 5 people. So answer it originally and unique to you. We are going to, at the end, I'm going to show you the packet. We have Q&A questions. We have behavior interviewing questions, and these resources are worth your time to look into it, and I'll give you those resources at the end. Most of the time, your interview will start with, tell me about yourself. You need to have this already planned. Some people call it like an elevator pitch where you practice it. But you need to answer by what makes you a great fit for their company, their school, and why they should select you out of the hundreds of candidates that are interviewing for their school. So just think about those things. Other things, you obviously you want to talk about your education, your certificates, certifications, your electives, your dreams, your aspirations, professional, what internships have you had? What co-ops, jobs, shadowing, volunteering, and what organizations were you involved in? What are your hobbies, your research? But again, this elevator pitch, this tell me about yourself should not last 10 minutes. That's why you need to be prepared and have thought through this and practice this so that you could do this in your sleep. And most importantly, be unique, be personal, be yourself. Talk about your culture, your languages, your activities, your upbringing. But really, 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 this technique is designed to be 30 to 60-second elevator pitch. And we have more information on the elevator pitch in the handout that, again, I'm going to show you at the end. So when you're talking about yourself, you really need to kind of have 5 to 8 bullet points. And only 1 to 2 of them should be personal things that are outside of your career, your passion, your schooling. Most of them should be on an educational, on a professional statement. Um, if you can rearrange your elevator pitch to be in like a story, and entertaining and fun and energetic, that's awesome because that will help you to stand out. So your goal is to tell a story illustrating who you are, your unique skills, and why you're a great fit for this program. You want to shine, you want to stand out. So we recommend using the STAR strategy. So if they're asking you a question, what is the greatest challenge you face while being at Texas A&M? Your answer should not be, I failed an exam. That is not, that is boring. That is obviously in 4 years of being at a college institute that's hard and rigorous, that's going to happen. So think beyond the failing of the exam. Think of a situation and explain the environment and the challenge. What did you do to solve that problem? Um, what actions did you actually do? You planned this, but did it go as planned, or did you end up taking different steps? What resulted from that situation, that challenge? And again, the Career Success Handbook shows you the STAR strategy and explains it in more details than I just gave time to. So research that because it keeps you on track and it keeps you on a purpose and it helps you come the whole story well-rounded and you finish and end on a strong point. So when they ask you, do you have any questions for us? The answer is always yes. If you don't have questions, it tells them that you did not research much about their school and that you're just doing this because you got an interview. You want to shine that you want to be accepted into this professional school and you want this position. So have 3 to 4 questions ready. Why 3 to 4 questions when probably you only have time for 1 or 2? They might have covered the question answer to a question you were planned to ask. So in that case, ask a different one. In our handout that we're going to give you, there's 35 different questions that you can use in this part of the process of the interview. So let's talk about MMI, the multiple mini interviews. As you can see in this picture, it's that you will go into a separate room. The question will be on the outside of the door, and you will have about 2 minutes to read the question and think about the answer before you go in. Once you go in, then you have anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes to answer their question. The MMIs do not have a wrong answer, so you don't have to worry about that. But also, you need to know your length of time. So, practice how long is an answer for 5 to 8 minutes. So that way you can finish with your conclusion and wrap it up in a timely fashion. In these rooms, they are not going to give you extended time. So when your time is up, even if you're in mid-sentence, you have to move to the next room. So that's why timing and prep is very, very important to this. What I love about the MMI is that let's say you're really nervous in the first one, which is totally normal and common, not a big deal. But then when you go into the second room, it's like you get a fresh start and you get a new group of people and you start getting into the groove. And by the time you've gone around to all the different rooms, you're going to be confident in your answers. You're going to be confident in yourself. And that's what I love about these. So here's the information we just discussed. You're going to have multiple first impressions. Practice your timing. 2 minute prep, 5 to 8 minute answers. They're typically behavior situational judgment type questions without a wrong answer. But seal the deal. You want to thank them for their time. You want to say, do you have any additional questions? Or is there anything we have not covered? And I'm not talking about in the MMI. I'm talking about the end of a panel or at the end of a one-on-one when you've already asked your questions and you're about to leave. You need to speak confidently and thank them for their time. Ask them if there's any other information they would like from you. Get their business card. Please note, you're going to be nervous. Their business card might just be from their school. It might not have their name on it. So write down the first and last name of the person you spoke to. And once you leave the interview, my best advice to you is on the back of the business card, write down something you connected with that person. Did you have something in common with them? Were you both from a small town? Or did you both know someone, or a 12th man, or a networking, or something you had in common? Write down immediately something you had in common with them, or something that you want to reiterate that they spoke out. So when your thank you note, you can make it personal. You think you're going to remember this when you get home, but I promise you, you're nervous. And if you're doing multiple interviews, you will get them jumbled up. So take the time to write that down before going to the next interview. And always, always, always send a thank you email. It will be an email, and in a minute, I'll show you a script for that. But I can tell you right now, I've seen the research and the few people that write an email, they get kudos and they are remembered. And if you want to go the extra mile, which I know you do as Aggies, follow up with a handwritten note, snail mail. It's worth your price and stamp to get your name in front of that interviewer again. So in case they have moved on or they've interviewed several schools since the time you've seen them, it brings you back to their mind, which is a major plus. So here's the interview tips. Follow up with a thank you note, personalize it by referencing specific parts of your conversation. Your thank you note formula, it's 3 steps. Thank you for the opportunity to fill in the blank. It meant a great deal because, and then I'm very interested in the name of that school and program, and I'm confident that, and you just sell yourself, you shine. Um, Practice, 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 interview steps. Here at the professional and graduate school advising, some of the advisors will love to do mock interviews with you. Some of us do not have the time in the 30 minutes to have that with you, but you're welcome to call and see which advisors would like to do that. But you have to have attended this workshop or have watched it thoroughly all the way to the end in order to have a mock interview, because we're not going to go into the different strategies of interviews. We're just going to ask you questions. You're going to pretend like we are the interviewer, and then we're going to give you feedback on how you did. Virtual mock interviews are awesome. I always say do them on Zoom. Maybe have a family or friend or a peer, a mentor interview you. Watch yourself back, see where your eyes are, listen to your tone of voice. Are you saying Are you saying like? Are you repeating? Are you talking in slang? Work on those professional statements. And your goal is to be smooth, relaxed, and professional. I always say be yourself, because you don't want to be accepted to a school that you can't be yourself. You don't want to be miserable there. You want to find a good fit for you. So be yourself. Again, here is the information. So if you would like to reach out to a professional graduate student school advising office, we are at the Career Center. You can call to make an appointment with us, 979-847-8938, and make an appointment. A student worker, if they didn't answer the phone, leave a message with your UIN and a cell phone to reach you back. Go to the Career Center website and look at the handbook. This is 2025. They might have an updated one for you, but regardless, it is the most valuable information you're going to have in your hand, from professional dress to travel, the things we mentioned, questions to ask them. It will be worth your time and gold to spend some time in that. And then you can go to text.ag/HPIW, which will give you our health professionals interview workshop, a whole handout as well. I wish you the best of luck. I hope this was helpful to you. Feel free to watch it again, call for questions, but you've got this. Prepare for the interview. It's just as important as the application process when you started. This is where you stand out. This is where you shine. This is where you sell yourself. And I'm very proud of you, and you got this. Congratulations. And I wish you the best.